Good evening. It is your baby boomer Kitty Lane from the Peninsula in Virginia. Ooh, it's too early for this. I am so sorry, y'all. Am I tired? Yes. Am I sleepy? I shouldn't be. I mean, I slept all afternoon. So, Kitty, what are you working on? I am working on something that takes my mind off of everything. If I were a drinker, I'd be drinking. If I partook of recreational stuff, that's where I would probably be. But I do no such of either, so I crochet. Looks like a granny square. That's good, because it is a granny square. But Kitty, you don't like doing big granny squares, and you're absolutely right. But this is something that has kept my mind nowhere. You know, sometimes we go through things in life where we need to disconnect in order to stay connected. As crazy as that sounds, but it's so true. With the way my life has been going these past 6 months, my happiness has been in YouTube, watching the subscription numbers climb and the viewing hours and the number of views and the likes, and I am so appreciative of you guys because you keep me going. And then as I walk through a door one day and try to close the door behind me, life sticks its foot in the door and stops me from closing it. You know, and not only does it stop me from closing the door, it delivers news in almost an unforgiving way. Let's see if you can follow where this is going. So, this young woman was raised 53 years of her life as an only child. And something happened just before her 54th birthday. She found out that she was the youngest of 5 children. Obviously, these 5 children had at least one parent in common, and that parent happened to be the father. Now, 4 of these children got to enjoy the presence of their father. This young woman never knew him. She found out his name when she was 12 years old. Got her first computer in 1999 and had been looking for him ever since. But even in 1999, it was too late because she discovered when she was 53 that he passed away in 95. But in her search, she found someone else bearing the same name. So she reached out to that person, found out it was her first cousin, and this is how she found out she had siblings. Now, she wanted siblings her entire life. She wanted to be a sister. She wanted to have big brothers. She wanted to have, she didn't care where she fell in rank. She did want a big brother. She always wanted a big brother and a big sister. But if there were those younger than her, that was cool too. That was cool too. Let me give you a little bit more history about this young lady. She went the first 6 years of her life thinking her name was Baby, because that's what her family called her. Baby. Not by her government name, but Baby. So, back to 53. Through a whole lot of Facebook Messenger messages, phone calls, a meeting finally occurred at the end of September, the beginning of October. This young lady went to meet her sister and an older brother. Everybody's older. So the middle brother came to meet this young lady as well. This young lady immediately fell in love with her siblings. It was like missing puzzle pieces that finally fit into place. She felt like she belonged almost completely now. The only thing that would make it complete was already deceased. But she had the next best thing. She had a sister. She had 3 brothers. Now, one brother just never seemed interested in meeting, but she made herself okay with that. She did hope to one day at least lay eyes on him, even if they could never talk. She just wanted to see him, and still does. She still wants to see him. But after meeting her sister and her brothers, and I mean, honestly, when she walked into the apartment building and saw her sister atop the stairs, before she could say hello, all she could say to her sister was, "You're beautiful," while tears filled her eyes, and a strength that she hadn't had in a while overcame her while she climbed these stairs. And she hugged her sister, and she talked to her sister. They visited, and life was good. And her brother and sister-in-law came, and she met her niece and nephew, and her great niece and great nephew. She met her sister's sister, them sharing the same mother, and she felt happy and content and in place and loved. So feeling so much love and knowing she had more family, the next month, fully in October now, she traveled to Georgia where her brother lives. And this was the first time she and her brother got to sit down one-on-one, and she asked questions and he answered them. And this was not just somebody giving her advice. This was her brother. You know, and this young lady and her brother and sister-in-law went out and had lunch the next day at a seafood restaurant, and it was beautiful. They took pictures. She went to church with them that Sunday, got to meet her nephew, who met her at the hotel room. He came to the hotel room to meet his aunt. And she also met her niece. And it was amazing because this young woman and her brother could have almost been twins. They looked so much alike. So her brother's daughter, her niece, and her oldest daughter looked like twins. They looked just alike. Bloodline strong. So, some years pass. No, before that happened, some months pass. And the oldest brother starts asking about this young lady, expressing interest in wanting to meet her. But God and Cancer had different plans, and he passed. And She wasn't able to get to Michigan to the funeral, but her heart was there. When she went back to Georgia, spending time with her brother, her sister-in-law, niece and nephew, she felt more comfortable. She felt like this was where she was supposed to be. And she and her daughter went to Maryland a few more times, got to meet more of the sister's family, and even had the occasion where her nephew met her daughters and her mother. The young lady's sister met her oldest daughter, met her niece. And every meeting was joyous and comfortable. And this young woman just relished the fact of being called auntie. It just made all the difference in the world to her, being called auntie, and it was real. It wasn't just a label put on her. She was auntie. You know, and when the niece got married and the auntie showed up for the wedding, one of the nephews was just so overjoyed. He was almost like a 5-year-old child. He was like, "My auntie's here, my auntie's here." And every time she turned around, he was right there. And then the pandemic happened. But this young woman still wanted to reach out. And she developed a list of people who were close to her. And she considered her brother and sister close to her. And she would send out inspirational messages every morning through text. And she didn't do it like normal people. She didn't send blanket text messages. She sent them individually to give them a little more personal touch. So nobody was connected to anybody else, but they were all connected to her. And every now and then she would reach out and try to call her siblings. And she got her sister once. She got her brother a couple of times. But for the most part, the only person who really stayed in contact with her was her nephew through her brother. Bringing you up to date. On Wednesday, this young woman's sister passed away. But this young woman found out about it by way of Instagram on Thursday. So she's hurt. You know, and because of the life this young woman has had, she sees a therapist once a week. And she's even said to her therapist, like, as recently as a month ago, her words were, "I feel worthless. I feel unwanted. I have no relationship with my siblings, and I desperately want one." With both of them. With all three of them, really. I try reaching out, and I get no return calls. And I don't know what else to do on my end. I've traveled to their states. They've never been to see me. I realize I'm new to them. But I wonder if they even thought about the fact that they've really made me feel like a shiny new toy at Christmas. that got played with long enough to say, I played with that toy. And then they either tucked me away in the attic, in the basement, or even gave me the goodwill. But what I do know is that I feel like I've lost a piece of me. It's my sister. And from the moment I found out I had siblings, I loved them. And I do. And it hurts being that shiny new toy. I have gone through and am going through some things in my life that the only help I would need from them is just somebody to talk to. You know, somebody to get my mind off of it instead of the people who are here living through it with me. You know, to be able to call my sister and say, hey, girl, guess what's going on here? You know, or my brother, but you know, and then the fact that I lost my mother 5 years ago, even though my kids are grown, how do you just go and talk to your kids about how you're feeling about aging when they're like half your age? Or how you feel about the way people treat senior citizens, or you know, how you're feeling. And they encourage you to talk, but you still limit yourself because these are your kids. You know, they're not your friends, they're not your buddies, they're not your siblings. So yes, I picked up yarn today and I started crocheting. I had no goal in mind. I tried to erase all thoughts. I literally grabbed a string and started crocheting, and I will show you how true this is, and this will further verify when I tell you I speak truth. I don't believe in lying, y'all. You see that dot in the middle? It didn't even go the whole first round of the granny square. It is literally a string. I picked up a string and started crocheting because I didn't want to feel, I didn't want to think. I want to scream. But it is now 10:30 at night, and even though it's a Saturday night, I don't want to scare anybody. I don't want to bother anybody. Oof. And my tears are like emotions right now. They burn. Oh. I feel like Eliza in Hamilton when she found out that he cheated on her. I can't say that simply that I just want to be loved, because I am loved. I have 2 beautiful grandchildren. I have 3 beautiful children. I have kids that I raised that weren't biologically mine, that still reach out to me and call me Ma, and they're there. I have new kids and I call them kids, but they're grown and they call me Ma. And, no, I'll do anything in the world for them, as I know they'll do anything in the world for me. But, hey, I never got a chance to sit up and eat ginger snaps with my sister. When she and I were talking, we talked about the fact that those were our favorite cookies. I thank you guys for listening. I'm about to just about finish a blanket. That was started this evening, and it is not even 10:30 yet. But there I am. Oh boy. So I see this being finished tonight. I might jump back on a little later. Who knows? Who knows? But I'm going to try my best not to make it tearful. Thank you guys for listening. Love yourselves, and whatever you're going through with your siblings, love them. I don't care if you only give them a minute of your time a week. Just reach out and say, hey, I was thinking about you. Or hey, I love you. Or hey, you matter. Y'all, it wasn't even worth a phone call.